Hi, in this video, I'm going to show you how to configure a custom domain in your Microsoft 365 tenant. So the first thing you're going to want to do is come to admin.microsoft.com with suitable credentials. In the left-hand navigation, you'll want to expand settings and then select domains. So here we can see we've got one of the unique on Microsoft.com domain names, which will still exist in the background. That's the way of segregating your tenant from others, but we're going to basically add a vanity name and apply consistency with a known company name. So here I'm going to click Add Domain, and I'm going to put in our domain name. And then I'm going to click Use this domain. Before I do that, and you won't see this, I'm just going to double check that I am in fact using the correct domain, which I am not. It's actually .uk. So again, you can't just put anything in here. You have to own the domain name, as you'll see the importance of that later on in the configuration. So we've got in our desired domain name, and we'll click on Use this domain. So here, and in most cases, to be honest, it's actually detected who the provider of the domain is, and we could just sign in and do it that way kind of automatically. But for the sake of this, I'm actually going to show you all of the options and also pick an alternative option. So here I'm going to go with add a text record to the domain's DNS record. So why is it wanting us to do this? Because we could only do this if we own that domain. So it's proving that before Microsoft attempt to configure one of their tenants to allow use of it. Add a text record to the domain's DNS records. What it sometimes is better to do one of the wizards is because, as part of this, as we'll see later on, the various Microsoft 365 services that are available, you'll have to add corresponding records and kind of keep verifying each until it all lights up green and you're good to go. So add a text record to the domain's DNS records, click continue. And here it's going to give us a value to enter a text record. So I'm just going to click the handy copy record icon, and I'm going to use these details, which you can't see this, but just trust me, I am going to my domain registrar, I've logged in, and I'm now going to add a new DNS record. So we know from what we've chosen, we want to add a new DNS record of the text type. I'm going to put in @ which I believe is basically just specifying kind of the root. And then for the text value, I'm just going to Control-V to paste the value that we copied by clicking on the copy record button. I add the DNS record, and now that record exists. So now I'm going to click verify, and fingers crossed this will have happened pretty swiftly. I don't think I've tried to resolve it previously on the computer, because if you did that before it existed, you might have a stale reference to the record and you might need to clear your DNS cache. So I'm going to click verify. I'm just going to click more options. So here again, if it's available, you can choose to let Microsoft add your DNS records, or you can manually. Just for ease, I'm going to go with the let Microsoft add your DNS records, providing it doesn't prompt me to enter credentials. So we'll click continue. And here it's basically going to show you the various Microsoft 365 services and the corresponding DNS records associated with them to make them work with your domain name. So I'm going to click Add DNS Records. Here in another window, it has prompted me to log in to my WordPress account in this case. So I'm just going to double check that I use the right account. Okay, so I think I've got the right account details, so just bear with me. I'm just going to enter those. Continue, enter the password. And then I'm now getting prompted, do I authorize DNS changes for the domain that we added? I'll click confirm. I can view the changes. And just for complete transparency, because as with all these things, they don't necessarily work as slick as you'd like, I'm actually getting the signature is not valid after all of that. So I'm just going to cancel out of it. Again, this is refreshing the whole time and it can tell that I cancelled out of it. I'm just going to try one more time, add DNS records. I'm going to click confirm and we're getting signature not valid. So sometimes it's a bit like, I always liken this to, you know, when you buy something in the supermarket and it tries to say, oh, you just tear here to open the packaging really easily, and then you do that and the whole thing explodes, or you end up ripping the whole bag. Sometimes with these slick wizards that should work, it doesn't. And I'm sure it will work for some, and it might just be my browser session, but for the sake of what I want to show, I'm just going to click, I'm actually going to deselect these just for now and click continue, because all I really want to show you fundamentally here is doing the core domain name, not the individual services, because that'll depend on how your domain name's hosted. You see there, you should in theory be able to automatically add them. If not, we would just go back through it. So I'll show you here. So here it's added it, it's made it available. So instead of joe@10hdi7.onmicrosoft.com, I'll be able to do joe@powerplatformphilips.uk. You get the idea. So here, if I wanted to come back in, what I'm now going to do is I'm just going to manage DNS. And I'll basically do add your own DNS records. I'll click continue. And like we added that initial text record for the services that we want to use within our tenant, will dictate how many you need to do. I'll basically systematically go through and add all of these records using these details it's given us, verify it, finish, job done. So thank you for watching.